Hello everyone and welcome back to Send It's Weather channel. We've got the Christmas hat on again because it's getting close to that big day. We're only 6 days away and we're rocking the Yorkshire tea. I'm pretty sure anyway. So today we're going to be looking at some longer range. We're going to look at the AO and the NAO. I'll explain what they are in a moment. Then we'll have a look at all of the ECM data for the next 6 weeks, which will take us to the middle of January and beyond. Although we are focusing mainly on the first week of January and the end of December, because somebody in my comment section, I'll probably put the name on screen, commented that they'd like to see what are my thoughts on it as well. Let's take a look at the probability regimes as we head into January. If you enjoy all the content and you like our videos, find my videos good, then make sure that you drop us a like and don't forget to subscribe. No pressure though. You can unsubscribe if you don't want to watch anyway, straight away. So firstly, right, I want to look at the AO. This is the Arctic Oscillation. There's another thing called the North Atlantic Oscillation. Basically, in layman's terms, this index, when it's negative, that indicates that there's a stronger than average chance of blocking patterns setting up. It's weaker over Greenland, the Arctic Circle. However, it's positive, then that indicates a typical westerly pattern. As you can see at the moment, it's been slightly positive, and obviously around the Christmas period it's going to go slightly positive, as the high pressure is going to sit just to our north, but not far enough north for blocking and stuff like that. Although over the next couple of days, over the weekend, it's going to get quite, well, relatively cold. As you can see here, the AO is forecast, as we go into January and the end of December, to go negative. Slightly, not strongly, but slightly negative. You need both the AO and the NAO to go negative to indicate a better than average chance of colder conditions. So this is going negative and it's got decent support. Quite a few going quite strongly negative. The NAO, on the other hand, however, is kind of sitting around neutral. There's a big scatter of runs. So if you can get more of these runs going more negative, more weekly negative, it's kind of neutral or weekly negative there. It needs to just have more runs going down here, and this could increase the chance of blocking as we go into early January. Now, we're going to show you the ECM charts. I've probably shown these before. These are the weekly mean anomalies. There we go. So we've got the weekly mean anomalies, the 500 millibar heights, which are actually the same, and they typically show the same thing. We'll start with this then. So this is the Christmas week. So we've got 23rd to the 30th. So we've got high pressure going to be sat over and just to the west of the country, and it's also moving up towards in the Atlantic region in the Atlantic. However, we're bringing in kind of a southwester, which is why it's going to be so mild over the Christmas period. As you can see there, you can see these light isobars here. The winds are originating from the Atlantic. And from like Spain, and temperatures are going well above average, 3 to 6 degrees above average. Precipitation obviously quite dry, besides from the far north where the southwesterly winds are coming from, so it's going to be more unsettled. Week 2 is the 30th of December to the 6th of January. Will be so cold. Now, this is where things could go wrong, because as you can see, there is a great, there is a strong block towards Greenland and Iceland, and low pressure towards Scandinavia and the Nordic regions. However, this ridge here towards France is going to be bringing in a very mild southwesterly wind. Cold air's trying to sink southwards. They might get into Scotland, for example, and obviously into the Norway regions. With the northerly, however, we're kind of protected by the high, bringing in these mild southwesterly. So it's kind of battle lines drawn there, and where that battle line draws needs to be decided. As you can see there on the 500 millibar heights, high pressure is strongly blocking in the Atlantic, or region in the Atlantic, but we've still got a ridge down to the south, which is the big problem, bringing in these southwesterly winds. But it is very close, so it's something to keep an eye on. Week 2, as you can see, the anomalies are dropping, but it's still above average. See that cold pool, quite a wide cold pool in Western Europe there. Precipitation is wetter than average, so indicating of more unsettled conditions. Week 3 is the 6th to the 13th, and again, a slight block, more just out to our west towards Ireland, bringing down maybe like a northwesterly wind. Probably quite dry, but not exactly great. And that shows kind of high pressure still in the Atlantic sort of thing, so you would expect kind of a northwesterly tilt for that one. Temperature anomalies are actually going stronger above average. The colder than average temperatures are retreating further northwards. And precipitation, not really much of a signal, but drier than average to our west with the block, and wetter than average to our east towards France and the Nordic regions. As we go into week 4 then, high pressure looks like it's sunk southwards, just kind of over the top of the country really. Probably low pressure towards Greenland, probably bringing in a westerly wind, I was to have a guess. Yeah, that looks quite westerly to be honest, and relatively mild as well. Precipitation anomaly is drier, so it's still drier, wet than average to our north, drier than average to our south, indicative of a westerly flow. So I'm not exactly interested in there. Reverting back to westerly, but it's a long way off. That looks very mild for the final week, which is the 20th to the 27th, with high pressure out to our east, bringing up a exceptionally mild southerly wind. Well, there you go. That's a very mild spell if that came off. Won't show it in these temperature anomalies because it's so far away. That'll be a very mild week. You'd expect low pressure out to the west as well with that. Which is what that's showing there, see. So, definitely something to watch out for, though, with week 2, so the 30th of December. That first week of January could be quite interesting. Let's keep an eye on that. But other than that, it looks quite mild and westerly. Now, this is what's interesting to me. Get this in frame. So this is the weather regime frequencies forecast for the UK. So this shows our typical pattern. So over the next couple of days, Wednesday to Friday, when this is run, so that's today, as you can see we're in the westerlies or the positive NAO signals. Then there's a mid-Atlantic ridge, well, like an Atlantic ridging through the weekend with that like northwest southeast alignment, bringing in some slightly colder air. And then as we go through Christmas, it says block. However, what we know that as is blocking just to our north. It's kind of set over the top of the country, and to our north, which is why it's a block, but it's not really. It's not far enough northwards to bring any colder weather in. Then, as you can see, through that first week of January into the last week of December into the first week of January, the Atlantic ridge signal increases, which is where you have high pressure. That Atlantic ridging is the high pressure out to our west and low pressure towards Norway, which could allow winds to come from the northwest, north, or northeast. And as you can see, that blocking signal continues pretty relatively high through January. So January could be an interesting month, and I did say that. Mid-January could be a cold spell. Something to watch out for. Also, another thing to look at finally is the mean zonal winds. This is the polar vortex. So you need this is the maximum it's ever been. So this red line here is the highest it's ever been, and we're actually above or stronger than average with the zonal mean winds. They are going to dip. Still remaining above average though the whole way. So that indicates the polar vortex is going to be very strong. The tropospheric polar vortex is going to be very strong, and signals aren't great for colder conditions with that. Not impossible. Needs that PV to be shifted to our east by ridges, but it's something to keep an eye on. But what do I think overall? Well, I think there's definitely a potential for colder conditions to develop through the first week of January. It's definitely something to watch out for, and I'll keep you posted on everything. If you enjoy it, cheers for watching, and I'll see you all in the next weather video. Bye everyone.